And now, I invite you to enjoy our Music Circus production of West Side Story.
I just met a girl named Maria, and suddenly that name will never be the same to me.
I could have danced all night, I could have danced all night, and still have begged for more.
This is the dawn.
It starts with our audience, you know. We try to take our audience on a journey, a balanced meal of American musical theater through the course of the summer. I think Music Circus is a well-known entity throughout the theater world, and we definitely have great community support here. Sacramento has a thriving arts community, the performing arts, the visual arts, great painters, great musicians, great dance. I mean, I think it's all happening here. And what I hope we're also doing is creating the next generation of artists that go beyond Sacramento and bring a little bit of Sacramento to the likes of New York and Los Angeles and maybe beyond.
The Music Circus was established in 1951. In the late 40s, my father, Russell Lewis, and his partner, Howard Young, were Broadway producers. As will happen to any Broadway producer, their last play on Broadway did not perform well financially. And so they returned to the West Coast and looking around for what is the next big thing for them to take on. At that time, there was a phenomenon in the United States called tune tents. And what it provided was an opportunity for an audience to experience not just musical theater, but musical theater in a very special format, which is in the round. The first tent was actually right there on the corner of 15th and H. In 1969, Russell and Howard determined that in order to attract acts like Liberace or Marlene Dietrich or Bob Hope, etc., that they needed a larger seating capacity and therefore higher potential gross. So they bought the corner that we're sitting in right now, and the tent in 1969 then opened with a capacity a little in excess of 2,500 seats.
There are very few theater companies in the country that are able to bring together the level of talent on stage and off stage to create the works that we do.
They literally are the best of Broadway.
When you're on the stage, you do feel that it's an intimate setting, even though you're in the middle of 2,200 people.
The Music Circus in the Round, it's a unique experience that you don't get in other theaters. We're all used to proscenium, but now you've got to be, I mean, every inch of you has to be acting and because people are all around you.
You don't have any place to hide. You're acting from the front and from the back. And people have to be able to hear and feel the emotion.
To let my feelings lie where hurt cannot come by.
It's all about the voice. So you have to walk like this if you want to go to the side, because the voice has to project out.
I think that great vocalists know how to interpret the songs in each of these musicals in a way that is indescribable, and then takes them someplace completely different with each and every song.
My first and foremost is safety. Depending on the show, it's like Peter Pan. Peter Pan was probably the hardest show we've done technically in the 20 years that I've been here. We had 4 people flying at the same time, scenic pieces going up and down in the dark. It was an adrenaline rush to get through the show.
When you see all of that come together and gel is one of the most satisfying things I can imagine happening Great art really kind of gets to the core of the human experience. And those could be new works, and they could be works that have existed for many decades and have been produced here over and over and over. Responsible directors and producers are true to the texts. There are shows like Big River, like West Side Story, and even in Hair that have elements that are unflattering, moments in history that are disturbing, themes of racism and sexism and violence. But I think that it's important to understand our past so that we don't repeat it, so that we are reminded of how far we've come, and in some cases reminded of where we need to go.
This community theater, dealing with issues that were relevant to me, really opened my mind and broadened my horizons to dream of bigger and better things. And that's why I think these type of theaters are so important. And I may not get to express how I feel publicly on certain issues. I will be able to express myself as the character.
As summer theaters go, particularly summer theaters that are put together in a relatively short amount of time, there's nothing better in the country that I have ever seen than this.
Thousands of people are coming to the Music Circus every performance. They're packing the house. There's a thirst to see theater.
The nice thing about the Music Circus in particular is that it really is a family. There's actors who I've worked with that have been coming back, and it really is a family feel here.
We have an incredible network of support here in Sacramento, a long tradition, and I hope that this company is able to sustain another 65 years of providing the best of musical theater to Sacramento and in Northern California.